My name is Dan Dorval, and I'm President and CEO of Dorval and Cherney Financial Advisors. I am an independent certified financial planner and author of my book, Financial Success for the Rest of Us, Reality-Based Financial Planning for Mainstream America.
Hi, my name is Leah Woodley. I'm an associate financial advisor with Dorval and Cherney Financial Advisors. Our conversations discuss what it means to do quality of life planning in all areas of your life. Dan, we work with a broad range of clients. For some clients, Social Security is a very integral part of their retirement plan. Now, there are other clients who have more than enough in their investment vehicles where Social Security may not play as large of a role. For some wealthy retirees, they assume that they should just take Social Security right away at 62 because they don't need a larger Social Security benefit. What do you say to that?
Yeah, it's a great question because a lot of times, if somebody has a lot of available resources, they look at Social Security and they think, well, this just isn't that important to me. And so, like you said, I'm going to take it as soon as I possibly can. And along the way, they're kind of missing out on some of the important elements of Social Security that still apply to everyone. And those are usually the insurance aspects of Social Security. Social Security is not a retirement plan. As much as a lot of people think that it is, it's actually more important from an insurance benefit. And so, if you are a married couple who has done very well, in many cases, it makes sense for the higher earning individual who has the bigger Social Security to wait as long as possible and use other investments first to bridge them across to that bigger Social Security. And the reason why is when one of you passes away someday, the surviving spouse gets to keep the bigger of the two Social Securities. And where that comes into play is things that involve insurance. So if you think about a wealthy couple, they're doing very well from a retirement standpoint. What could derail their plans? It's usually someone dying very prematurely, somebody maybe going into a long term care type of event that gets incredibly expensive. And so when you think about the idea of survivor benefits, if I suffer one of those adverse consequences, at least the surviving spouse has this significant survivor Social Security in order to help supplement the other resources you have and be able to maintain quality of life.
Yes, thank you for clarifying that and walking through that with us. That is a very important component when it comes to those survivor benefits. So, does it ever make sense for someone to claim Social Security early if they do have a lot of wealth?
Well, it's not a one size fits all type of thing. And I will
Right.
say that if you have significant resources, your Social Security decision is less impactful to you. I mean, if you have so much money that you're not worried about being able to maintain quality of life, even if the stock market tanked or some of your investments did poorly, yeah, people will take Social Security early. Certainly, if you've suffered a major health issue,
Mhm.
if you do not have longevity in your family, taking Social Security earlier can sometimes make sense. But one of the big keys is if you imagine like thinking about getting older. So wealthy couple, they retire, they're in their 60s, they're living retirement, they're doing all the things they want to do and they have plenty of resources to be able to do that. Okay, fantastic. That's all working out. Now they're in their maybe 80s, still have a lot of resources. They're not spending as much money anymore. Now they want to start to aggressively gift. If they have waited on Social Security, well, they have income sources coming in to be able to maintain kind of their basic spending. Supplement that with some investments, it creates greater flexibility for you to do estate planning type things like aggressive gifting.
Sometimes we use software to determine when someone should claim Social Security. And oftentimes they ask you, what is the lifespan? And you put in an age. Is there a any factors that should be considered beyond life expectancy when determining when to claim Social Security?
I think one of the biggest things about these calculators or spreadsheets that, they can be powerful tools for evaluating Social Security, but they're only as good as the inputs that go into them. And so you have to make assumptions. For example, if somebody says, well, both of us are going to live to be 90 or 95 years old, kind of a longer longevity type of thing, every single Social Security analysis is going to spit out that you should wait until 70. In fact, both of you should wait until 70. And yet, for most people, that may or may not make sense at all. And we have no idea how long you're going to live. I make the joke all the time. If you will commit to a date of death, I can tell you exactly when to take Social Security. And yet, nobody will ever commit to a date of death.
Right.
So, these software assumptions are like committing to a date of death. If it happens, great. Yeah, the recommendations it's spitting out make a lot of sense. So I think those tools are actually better for a financial advisor than they are for an individual or a
Yeah.
couple because we look at that with a different perspective. It informs us how impactful waiting might be. And then we can look at it and say, okay, in your situation, this probably matters and it might matter
Mhm.
a lot. In another situation, it might not matter at all. And those individuals might have a short life expectancy, or maybe they've suffered a serious health issue of their own and they're worried about longevity. They might as well take Social Security earlier. Our
Mhm.
key in all of the decision making is we have to make sure people are going to be okay regardless of what happens. If one
Yes.
person dies prematurely, if one person lives a really long time, if both of you live a long time, we need it to work in every single scenario. And we want Social Security to be an important part of the puzzle pieces that go together in that evaluation.
Yes, absolutely. Everybody's situation is unique, and I think just with anything financially, you have to look at your own individual circumstances. Is there anything else that you would like to leave with our viewers?
I think one of the things we're seeing a lot of is there are videos all over the place now talking about Social Security. And I will see some that say, take it as early as possible. And then I
Mhm.
watch the video and they're making assumptions that don't make any sense. They're completely ignoring survivor benefits, for example. I see other people who say, no, no, you should always wait as long as possible. And most of that content is geared around doing a black and white type of thing. You do this
Mhm.
or you do this, and it is right or wrong, and there is no gray area or nuance in there. And
Mhm.
that's the whole point of financial planning is everyone is different. And thinking in terms of a significant resource like Social Security, we want to make sure that we're considering that nuance in every individual's plan.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for all the feedback you shared. And until next time, have a good one.
Thanks, Leah.
Thank you.